Hi, everyone. Okay, so what you're seeing is a pastel piece of art by my daughter. Her name is Ruby. She made that for me for Mother's Day, I believe, or maybe my birthday. I can't remember. She's always making me art, but that's from her. So, as you guys look at it and study it, I'm going to be reading a few chapters from one of my favorite books. It's called The Secret of Light by Walter Russell, and it's just um, a nice break from most things that you'll read or hear about. He had a very unique perspective on pretty much everything. I encourage anyone to look up Walter Russell um, if you're just looking for books to expand um, like the way you think about the world and our creation. Anyway, this is called Sensation and Consciousness. It's chapter 3 from The Secret of Light. God is consciousness. Consciousness is static. Consciousness is the knowing of mind. Knowing is static. Consciousness is the spiritual awareness of being, of all knowing, all power, and all presence. Thinking is electric. God's thinking is expressed by two-way moving wave extensions from consciousness, like a lever swinging upon a fixed fulcrum, or like waves extending from the calm sea. Thought expression is dynamic. Thinking belongs to the electrically sensed and conditioned vibrating universe of motion. Thinking is the motionless principle in light, which creates the illusion of motion. The self of man belongs to the static, invisible, conscious, unconditioned universe of knowing. We express knowing in the dynamic, visible, electrically conditioned universe of sensation. Sensation is the electrical awareness of motion, simulating the spiritual qualities of the one idea by creating imaged quantities of separate forms which seem to have substance. Consciousness is real. Sensation stimulates reality through motion of interchanging lights, but the mirage of a city is not the city it reflects. Confusion and misunderstanding as to whether we are thinking consciously from knowledge or sensing electrically from memory records stored in our brains have led us to the necessity of distinguishing between the two by the common usage of terms such as the human mind and mortal mind. We know full well, while using them, that there is but one mind of the one living God of love. The universal mind centers every particle and mass in this universe, animal, vegetable, or mineral, electron, atom, or sun. Man is the only unit in creation who has conscious awareness of the spirit within him and electrical awareness of dually conditioned light acting upon his senses. All other units of creation have electrical awareness only. Man alone can be freed from body to think with God, to talk with God, and be inspired by his centering light. All other units of creation are limited in their actions to automatic reflexes from sensed memories built up through ages of sensing and recording such sensing as instinct. Likewise, the same confusion leads us to the adoption of such terms as subconscious mind and superconscious mind. There is but one mind functioning universally within all creating things, and that one mind is not stratified nor divided into the more or less. There is no differing conditions of the one mind, nor are there differing kinds of minds. Imagination. God is the imaginer of his one idea. All imagining is God's imagining. All creating forms in this thought universe of God's imagining are built in the image of his imagining, creating in his image. All forms in this creating universe of imagined forms are but electrical recordings of God's imaginings. They have no existence. Records of idea are not the idea they record. They have no substance. They are but black and white lights of sun-centered wave fields of space assembled in vibrating systems to stimulate substance in an objective universe which is not, but seems to be. God's imagining never began and will never end. It was not created at some remote pastime by some vast cosmic event, as commonly believed, nor is it condemned to a heat death by expansion into nothingness. This is a creating universe, not a created one. God did not begin to imagine at some fixed time, for time does not exist. This light wave universe, which records God's knowing by his thinking and imagining, is as eternal as God's thinking is eternal. Inspiration. Inspiration is the language of light, which man uses to talk with God. Inspiration is that deep awareness of the consciousness of being, which differentiates the genius or mystic from the being of average intelligence. Inspiration in man is accompanied by an intense mental ecstasy, which is characteristic of all who become intensely conscious of their closeness to God. Inspired geniuses forget their bodies while deeply conscious of their existence as holy mind. Their bodies, thus forgotten, act almost automatically in obedience to instinct and cell memory reflexes. Inspired geniuses translate God's knowing into words of man for the soul of man. They uplift all mankind by re-inspiring all who listen to their ecstatic words and rhythms. He who attunes his heart to the messages of genius purifies himself. No impurity can there be in his heart, for verily he then is in communion with the Holy One. Some quotes from Divine Iliad. Man alone of all my creating things hath begun to hear my whisperings. Since his beginning my still small voice hath whispered within him that I am he, and he me. But even now barbaric man on thy small new world heareth duly, and maketh idols, which he treasures before me. For he is still new, he is still but in the firmament of his brewing. For I say that all things which floweth from life of me have life of me flowing through them, e'en to the least of these. But I say that e'en though my light of immortal life floweth through these mortal symbols of my thinking, it toucheth them not in the passing. When they shall know the light of me in them, then they shall be me, and I them. From the Divine Iliad. I think I'm going to leave it at that. I'll make another video if you want to watch it with this another chapter that comes after this one. But until then, I'm hoping to be uploading more content. I've got a sacred space created, and I guess that will be all for today. I love you all. Take care of yourselves. Till next time, friends. Goodbye.